So my original box, I essentially just was able to use a bunch of scrap pieces. This, unfortunately, I used up all my scrap pieces. So what I want to do here is quite interesting. It's just a side note in the build, but wouldn't be applicable. But effectively, this is smaller than the original. So what I'm going to try and do, because the seam of glue is all the way around here, I'm just going to try and cut it down here and that way, and pull that panel off and see if I can recover some of that wood. Well, that went even better than I thought it would. I did not score, that was just perfect depth. So I did not touch any of the plastic there, that. So I'm wondering if I can recover this, maybe seal it differently. But you can see the construction that I did. I had getting light. You get some tape around the top, around the bottom. That sucker is black as night, so it's full with that spray sealant that doesn't freaking work. Oh, interesting. Alright, I want to take this back inside and see where the hell it's leaking. Interesting note, this is the original case that I built, and you can see that I used, get really close there, is essentially two levels. I used 2 layers of plexiglass there and created an L shape, just like a dado, I think. It's a dado, rabbit, whatever. But I used aquarium sealant, thinking that it would do a really good job on this plexiglass. Once I took it out of the box, the wooden container, ran some water in it, and this whole side split open. And just a little bit of pressure, and that whole thing comes apart. The only thing that's holding this sucker together is the tape, the Gorilla Glue tape that I put on there. That has no structural integrity whatsoever. So I'm assuming that what is it? The glue, the aquarium glue, just does not adhere to plexiglass. Look at that. That sucker. That is infuriating. Yeah, that cost me a whole day and all of this, plus all the money I've spent to try Plan B. Okay, but still, just for the record, this rubber stuff, this Billy Mays or whatever, still is shit. I wouldn't use it. So now, knowing what I know about the old box, I've decided that I'm not going to be as paranoid about the water tightness here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the majority of this plastic coating from the trash bag. But I'm going to actually leave it on here because if nothing else, it'll act as a light container. So I'm just going to trim it off around the edges, clean it up, lay it a little flat, and it'll look a little bit nicer. Will be a little easier to measure. All right. Alrighty, so with that decision, I decided to go ahead and take off a lot of the excess of the plastic. So you can see it's much more tighter now. It's probably waterproof up to here, but I've got it folded over and tied on there. So I think I've been put enough paranoid due diligence into leakage on this box. So hopefully it will withstand the test of time here. Alright, so there's that. Next step is I'm going to cut the sides and the bottom pieces out of this 1/2-inch ply. There's no reason for me to sit there and show you real time me cutting the strips of wood to fit the sides. But what I did want to say is give you an idea of what I'm doing. I'm not going to put any measurements for this on the web other than the basic dimensions, because yours will be custom for whatever you need. But just to give you an idea of what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to size everything according to the width. So it's going to be essentially custom built. This is what you'll see me be doing in the video. I'll be sizing the width according to the material. So it should be a pretty darn tight fit. Yeah, I'll just be. I'm not going to use a ruler at all in this next process. So I've come across a little bit of a dilemma, and I'm trying to make all this out of scrap wood, and unfortunately the panels that I had are too short, so I'm not going to be able to use that wood, and I don't have anything that is that size that I can use. So it's going to look a little kludgy, but I think what I'm going to do is put a panel around the bottom like this, and then I'll take another piece of this 1/2-inch, put it over the top. It'll give it a little structural integrity around the top, and it'll look neat, but I don't know that it is necessary. So as you're making your own, the smart thing to do for me right now would be go to the store and buy another $6 panel of just cheap 1/4-inch plywood. But I'm being lazy, and by being lazy I'm going to put more work into it than I should. Anywho, so yeah, I'm just going to be playing around and see what monstrosity I can create and what additional work I can create for myself. Well, I think I've got all my pieces. Do a little dry fit here, a literal dry fit. So essentially what I decided to do is I just cut a little notch out of there so that slides up in there so I don't have a gap of any kind, and adds a little decorative edge to it. I don't know. I'm just making do with the material that I have. So it looks like it's doing okay. The only problem I'm going to see is just finishing that. I hate rough corners, so I think I'll just take a quick round over to this edge before I assemble it, and I think we are ready for assemblage.